Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope that you're having a great week and looking forward to a great weekend. So it's the Friday wrap up, and I'm not going to take calls today. Phone lines are off. I'm actually not going to go very long, guys. I just wanted to put some stuff out there for you as we go into this weekend. Unfortunately, there's no big boxing events, right? Because the major one that we were looking forward to has been postponed. So more on that in a second. But I'm exhausted, man. I've had a long week training, and I just got back from the gym for the second time today. I put in two today. 2 days are tough, man. They're real tough, especially toward the end of the week. It's one thing when you hit it Monday and Tuesday feels pretty good, but by Friday, I'm dragging ass. So I just put in my second workout today. I'm gonna just rest a little bit and get some dinner with the wife here in a little while. But okay, let's talk about some stuff, man. Let's see. Obviously, the huge news around the world, right? Queen Elizabeth II has passed away, 96 years old, 70 years as the monarch of the UK. And regardless of how any of you out there feel about the Queen herself or the monarchy and England's complicated history with many different parts of the world, including the United States, by the way, where I am from, regardless of the politics of it and the social part of it, like let's just remove that, okay? The reality and the fact is this is obviously it's a historic occasion. It's a historic moment. That 70-year reign, I do believe that's the longest reign of a British monarch ever, and it's certainly among the longest reigns of any monarch in the history of the world, in the history of humanity, going back to like Ramses the Great, you know. So this is a big thing, and because of that, the promotion involved with the Shields Marshal Mayor Baumgartner doubleheader, they have decided today. They decided literally the day before the event to postpone it, and they're postponing it to until October 15th, which is a loaded day, a very loaded day of boxing around the world. So there are mixed feelings about this. Obviously, there are some people that agree with it. There are some people that hate it. I'm going to try to just give you guys some thoughts from a couple different points of view here, a couple different perspectives. Again, sticking with the historical stuff, I mean, obviously, you understand right away why maybe the promotion would make this decision just out of respect for what's going on right now. And again, take the politics and all that out of it. I really don't want to discuss that. Social media has just been a dumpster fire the last 24 hours or so. Just the occasion, right? Just what happened. It's big. It's a big deal. It's going to dominate the media space definitely this weekend and probably most of next week. And over in the UK, there are going to be ceremonies, vigils, all sorts of things like that going on. So if I'm thinking like a promoter right now, and I don't have any inside info here, guys. I'm just assuming, you know, based on the things I do know, they're probably looking at this and they're saying, well, in terms of the media share, the media space that we're going to get, it's going to be next to nothing. Because especially over there in England, remember, this card was going to be in London, right, at the O2. They're probably looking at it like, man, 99% of the media share is going to be dedicated to this story with Queen Elizabeth II. So if you're trying to get like the walk-up ticket sales, or you're trying to get that last bit of promotion out, because I think over there this was a pay-per-view. Correct me if I'm wrong for you guys in the UK who are on the chat, but you guys, I mean, you guys have to know that, like the infrastructure and stuff. I'd like to know some of that, the infrastructure. Jack, I see you in the chat. Calm down, bro. Calm down. I'm not taking calls right now. I'm trying to concentrate on some stuff. I'll get to your chats, guys. Just give me a second. But the infrastructure is going to be limited as far as people being able to get around, I would think. Now, again, some of you UK guys, you could correct me if I'm wrong here, but people getting to the weigh-in, which was supposed to happen today, people getting to the actual event, public transport, I imagine, is going to be crazy, and there's going to be things that are limited. It's going to be difficult, right? I know a few people that traveled over there for the fight just as fans, And one of my friends actually posted some pictures from Buckingham Palace this morning, and it was crazy. The crowds of people, right? So if you're the promotion, you're probably looking at all this and you're saying, well, it might be a bad look to go forward with this. We might get pounded by the media, especially if if you look at the promoter, they're headquartered there. They want to do future events there. You kind of want to keep those business relationships solid, positive, and then your again, the media share and everything else. I can see why they'd make this decision. I don't love it, but I can see why they'd do it, right? You can kind of see it. At the same time, right? That's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is I could see why they should go forward with it. This is an all-female card, right? Two great fights, a main event, co-main, and this great matriarch has died in Queen Elizabeth II. Again, regardless of how you feel about her, I'm not trying to get into all that. She's 96 years old, reigned for 70 years, et cetera, right? Millions of people know, actually, billions of people know who this woman is. She's one of the most famous people in the world. You could honor her if you spin it the right way, the promotion. They could honor Queen Elizabeth by keeping this card on and, kind of spin it to where you're honoring her because, the Queen would probably get a kick out of an all-female fight card. I don't know. Again, if I'm way off here culturally, guys, let me know. The UK guys, let me know. Because, obviously there's probably a lot of cultural things that I'm not aware of being a dumb American. So, but I would think on the surface that, she would kind of want this event to go forward, right? Because, women kicking ass and their chosen martial art of boxing and this all-female card and all this stuff. She'd probably get a kick out of that going forward, dedicated to her. So you can kind of see it from both perspectives. Also, there's this. It sucks for the fighters, particularly the 3 American fighters in those 2 main fights that had to travel over to the UK. There's travel costs. It ain't cheap getting over there. London's not a cheap city. It's not as expensive as other cities, but it's not cheap. And flying over there, transportation around the city for a week or so while you're doing the media blitz. And these girls have been working their ass off, especially Mayer and Bumgarner. They've really been promoting the hell out of their fight. Getting around for all that, people got to pay for it. Getting over there, people got to pay for it. Lodging, food, last minute training, nutrition, all that kind of stuff, right? If you're working with a strength and conditioning person, anything, all that stuff costs money. And so the fighters are out, the promotion is out in that respect, but also for the fighters, man, this messes up your training schedule, right? Because this wasn't postponed a week before the fight or 2 weeks before the fight. It was postponed the day before. That really messes up your training rhythm. And these fighters, it's not like they're fighting 5 or 6 times a year anymore. It's basically twice a year. So that sort of thing can really jack up your rhythm, particularly if you have a really scientific camp and you break it up into chunks and stuff. This is when you're peaking. You're peaking right now, right? So you're going to come down off that peak, and it's only a month later. It's October 15th. That's what, 4 or 5 weeks from now? You got to peak again. Well, normally your camp is, let's say, 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. So the peak and the timing is off. Also, there's usually rest between camps. You just put in a full camp. You're not going to get any rest. You're going to go right back into a mini camp and have to peak again off rhythm. Who's that going to mess up more? I don't know. We'll find out. But so it sucks for the fighters, but it also sucks for the fans. And again, I know a bunch of people. I know people from Michigan that went over because there's 2 fighters from Michigan on this card. I also know some people from California and some people from Nevada that ended up going over there, I think, for mayor. And they're all kind of shit out of luck because, yeah, if they can't make the October 15th event, they'll get money refunded for the tickets. But they're not going to get money refunded for their flight over there, hotel, everything else. one of my friends, him and his wife, they just said, fuck it. They just went to Paris today. They're just like, well, we'll make the best out of it. They took the tram down to Paris and they're just going to sightsee because they went over there for this fight. And now, they can't. So all that stuff sucks. And then also there's this element to it. This event, if it was going to happen tomorrow, it was going to be basically ladies' night. They had the night to themselves. There was no other major boxing event going. So they kind of had their own date, which was really cool. And you would have gotten a feel for just how big the market could be globally. Let's see what kind of ratings they can do. Let's see what kind of numbers they could do, right? Because they had the night to themselves. Well, now they're going on October 15th. And that same day in Melbourne, Australia, you've got Haney versus Kambosos, the rematch. And then in Brooklyn, New York, at Barclays, you've got Deontay Wilder, his return against Robert Helenius. And even though that's pay-per-view, it is heavyweights. It's Wilder. It's the return since, the beatdowns to Fury. He's going up against the guy that's tailor-made for him. His fan base is going to love to see the Helenius get knocked the fuck out. That's what they're going to pay for, the ones who actually do pay. So I actually think that's going to do some decent numbers. Not great, but decent numbers. So now the ladies are sharing this date with these other events, right? And that is unfortunate because they kind of had the stage to themselves and now they got to share it. And that's going to hurt. But there's a silver lining. Silver lining is all three of these events are in different parts of the world, different time zones. So if you're a diehard boxing degenerate like all of us are, that Saturday, you could just basically sit your ass on your couch all day and watch boxing because you're going to get to see fights in Australia, England, and the United States. Boom, boom, boom. I'm sure they're going to time this stuff accordingly. And you're probably going to get to see all of it live, should you choose to, if you want to see all of it live. Now, I asked on Twitter what you guys thought, and a lot of you, weren't as interested in some of these other fights. There was like one you preferred over the other, and you're probably not even going to watch all the fights that day. So that's it. I find that pretty interesting. And then the fact that it's getting split up. So now fans are going to have to choose, some of you guys. For those of you who want to go and attend the event, you're going to have to pick which one you want to attend, And I've already talked to several people who were going to go or already did go over to England for the fight this weekend. And I asked them about October 15th. They're like, dude, I'm going to Brooklyn. These American guys I know, they're like, I'm going to Brooklyn for that fight. I'm going for the heavyweight fight. I'm not going back to London. It was a one and done. So it is what it is. Okay, a couple super chats here. Then I'm going to get to you guys' stuff. Aaron with the super chat. Thank you so much, brother. He says, Mike, I think the caller Miguel from last week is right. Triple G is going to beat Canelo to a pulp next weekend. Oh, man. All right. I know it's what Jack is hoping for. I know, Jack, I'm sure you I see Jack in the chat says, I was so hyped to talk about Triple G versus Canelo 3 already. Listen, I promise we will. We still got 2 weeks. Actually, we only got a week. We're going to talk about it next week. I promise. Monday, TNC, we're definitely going to just dedicate it basically to that. So trust me, guys, we're going to talk about it. Jack says, everyone convince Mike to have me on real quick. Jack, for me to bring on the phones and stuff right now, it delayed a show, bro. And you guys would have to listen to me dial and get into my software and stuff. It's just too much of a pain in the ass. Just wait till Monday, all right? We're going to take a lot of calls Monday. Yeah, no calls today. Keeping it quick. And then another one from Ray. I haven't heard from you in a while, Ray. Thank you so much, man. He said, sorry, been a while since I super chatted Mike. Just letting you know I'm still supporting your channel. Anyways, can't wait for Canelo versus Triple G3. It's great that you guys are getting hyped for that, man. It's great. I think next week the hype is going to be pretty big. It's going to hit. Although they've really screwed up the pricing on that event. It sucks. Taurine says, I ain't mad at the canned fights in that country. The Queen was everything. Yeah, I mean, again, that's a big historical thing. Some people ask me though, because look, the NFL is kicking off this weekend. And in fact, last night was the kickoff of the whole season. And this weekend's going to be loaded with games, right? And someone was like, if the president died, the current president had a heart attack, stroke, or something and died, do you think they would delay the NFL season? I said, hell no. There's no way. There is too much money in it. And it's the biggest business in American sports short of college football. It's college football, then pro football, then everything else. That's just how America is, right? Football is king. And then I guess maybe it'd be baseball. And then I'm not sure how it breaks down after that. But anyway, there's no way they would delay the opening weekend, even if the president died. If it was something super, super tragic, the president being assassinated or something, not that I want to put that out there in the universe, nothing like that, obviously, but I'm just saying, for example, guys, maybe if it was like that serious, but if it was health related or something, I honestly think they would go forward with it and they would spin it and make it, we're dedicating this to the president. I don't even know if the president watches football. I'm just saying that's what they would do. I know this. Now they might cancel some events and stuff like that, but most stuff would just run and go. So, but this is different, man. This is a fight card, and the Queen, the monarchy, and everything over in England. That's a big deal. It's a real big deal, and I think this event was going to have a lot of international broadcasting, and I don't know. I guess they must have whacked up the numbers. I can tell you guys this. In boxing, it always comes down to the money. And somehow, some way, they must have concluded that it would be more beneficial to them to delay it to October 15. Even though everything I stated before is still true. They're sharing that day now with all these other events and stuff. They must have just done some quick math and looked at the trending and everything online on social media. It just, again, if you look at what everyone's tweeting about, Instagramming about, Facebooking about, especially over in that part of the world, and I have a big UK following. You guys have to remember that. Some of my American listeners might be like, who cares? Who cares? Listen, man, I have a big UK following, and I see what everyone's posting. It's a big deal over there. I know America, a lot of you guys think nothing outside of America matters, but it's a big deal over there. So I just think they must have concluded that it just would not be worth it to go forward. It sucks. It really, really sucks. I don't know what that comment means. A comment from Money says, Mike, you read it wrong. Read it again. I read what wrong? What did I read wrong? All right, what else do we got? Jacob says it's not about the money, Michael. Okay, maybe you're right, Jacob. Maybe you might totally be right. I guess I'm so jaded by the boxing business. 99 times out of 100, it's about the money. If these guys really cancel this card, or I shouldn't say canceled, postponed it, 100% based on principle alone, that'd be amazing. It'd be pretty rare in boxing, pretty unprecedented. You just don't see that. Nacho with a great point. Nacho, he says, Mike, they did not cancel any games when 9/11 happened. I thought they did, man. Are you sure about that, Nacho? I could have swore, didn't they postpone some of the Major League Baseball playoff games, like between what was the Yankees and Red Sox playing or something like that? I thought they postponed that stuff, but maybe not. I just remember the first fight after that was Bernard Hopkins and Tito Trinidad, and that was a big deal, right? And maybe it'll kind of have that same kind of feel now, October 15th, when they do this all-female card over there where they can really dedicate it to the Queen, kind of the way Hopkins Trinidad was. It almost felt like it was a dedication to 9/11. You know what I'm saying? Will, the degenerate boxing fan, Lynch with the super chat. I love that name, bro. Thank you. Says, no, Mike, people have no shame and it's disgusting. Yeah. 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 I really have nothing to add to that. I've seen a lot on social media. It's been pretty rough, man. And all I did was note it, and people dumped on me like, dude, you getting soft, Mike? Dog, I saw some stuff. I'm like, I know you guys don't like me talking about Twitter, so I won't. Will also adds they postponed Hopkins versus Trinidad. See, I thought so, man. I can't. Yeah, okay. A few of you guys said that in the chat. Okay. And then BTM said 9/11 resulted in an entire weekend of NFL games canceled. Okay. Yeah. So there you go. So I'm not, again, I'm not going to sit here and try to compare 9/11 to Queen Elizabeth II dying. And I don't want to be insensitive to any viewers or listeners, but it's two very, very different things. Okay. I don't even know if those things are comparable, but it just goes to show you that even here in America, where like sports is king, the NFL is king, Major League Baseball is king, those events were postponed when that happened. So this is hardly unprecedented, you know? So as frustrated as some fans are, as pissed off as the fans, it just put yourself in the minds of the fighters. They really got to be pissed off about this. And if you're the three American women, do you stay over there for a few weeks, 5 more weeks, or do you come back to America for 3 weeks, reacclimate to this time zone, this climate, your diet here, all that, only to do it all over again in a few weeks? That's tough, man. So as difficult as all that is, I can still understand why they're doing this. Like, I get it. What sucks about it is, like I said before, this happened the day before the event. So all the people that were traveling over there pretty much have already gotten there, right? Because people like to go to the weigh-in. They like to show up. I know a few whales that literally will fly into a fight, especially in Vegas, the morning of, and then leave Saturday night, Sunday morning. I know whales who do that shit. It's crazy, but they do because they're freaking millionaires. They can do that. But most other people, they get there a few days before the fight, even if they're traveling internationally. So everyone that was going to go to this fight, they're already there. And now they're like, oh, shit. Well, I guess I'm in London. I guess we'll just go see Big Ben or Buckingham Palace. But you can't right now because now you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would imagine a lot of that stuff is closed. But even touristy stuff that is open, there's a ton of people everywhere because, again, there are ceremonies, there are vigils, there all this media stuff's going on. So it's not like you can have this regular weekend vacationing over in London right now. It's kind of a mess. It really is. It's unfortunate. But again, I kind of understand it. Mindiola, you're cracking me up, man. Hurley says the British Board of Boxing Control are a bunch of out-of-touch old farts who jumped the gun in canceling the cards because they're more worried about public perception than fighters or fans. That's an interesting point. And see, okay, so you know what? Then I totally stand corrected. In the last 20 minutes, I've been yapping. Maybe I'm totally off base because was this a decision made by the BBBFC? How is it, BBBFC? I think the British Boxing Board. Did they make this decision or was this the promotion? The way I understood it, because I saw a statement from the promotion. I didn't read every word of it, but I saw this, long statement that got forwarded out to us. And I thought they canceled it. But if it was up to the BBB of C or whatever they call it, maybe that's why. Oh, Ray Valero with another note here. The NBA took a week break when Kobe passed away. Yeah, the NBA, they're kind of their own thing because they're an activist league. They're very political and activist. So that doesn't surprise me at all that they would do that. Does not surprise me. Jacob says, how much money would Sky Sports have lost having to reschedule the fight? They've definitely dropped a lot of money, because again, setting things up for media. I mean, they had pressers this week. They had all kinds of stuff. Those things cost money, but they got ratings from that. So The last people I'd worry about is Sky Sports. They will be just fine. Will says, but you can't make a point. That's what I think being soft means when you can't listen to reason and facts. Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. You guys are saying I read the super chat wrong. Let me go back. Oh, now I see what you guys have been saying the whole freaking time. Aaron's super chat I read wrong. I'm so sorry, guys. Can you tell I'm freaking tired? I told you I had 2 tough workouts today, man. After a full week of training, I am exhausted and starving. Aaron said, I think the caller Miguel from last week is right. Triple G is going to get beat to a pulp next weekend. So you think Triple G is going to get beat up? Okay, well, listen, Aaron, that's the common thought from what I've seen out there on social and everything. A lot of people seem to feel that way. I don't. I actually think it's going to be a highly competitive fight. These guys have had 24 rounds together. I know Triple G's older, but I definitely think it's going to be competitive. I really, really believe that. All right, Aaron with another one. Thanks again, Aaron. He said, all boxing events will stop during the birth of Mike's firstborn. MOB, baby. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there any? So my wife's due date is in late October. I don't even know what's on the schedule around that time. Originally I was hoping that'd be like around Spence Crawford or something. Nope, that didn't happen. So who knows? Who knows, man? But you know what? My world will stop. I mean, it's going to be amazing. By the way, I know some of you guys hate when I talk about my personal life, but I like sharing stuff with you guys. My wife is like 6 weeks out, right? And she's hating her life right now. She's big as a house, and she's just ready for it to be over. She's ready to have the kid already. You know what I'm saying? She's like just over it. I keep telling her, baby, 6 more weeks, 6 more weeks. So we're actually going to Detroit next week. And I'm going to be doing commentary for the live stream of a Crunk card, amateur card, up there in Detroit that I was supposed to fight on, but the fight fell through. It's happened to me like 3 times this year. It's totally messed up my training flow. I feel like I'm so out of whack with my training. Anyway, I'm not going to sit here and bitch about that. We're going to be up in Detroit. So I'm going to call the fights. I'm going to call that card, the commentary, and then we're going to put on DAZN and watch Canelo Triple G. That's what we're going to do. So I'm probably going to be watching that card with the Crunk crew, which is going to be fun, man. So I'll do a little bit of work and then watch Canelo Triple G. That'll be fun as hell. And then after that, that's the last time Tiff and I are going to really travel before she has the kid. Sam with another super chat. Thank you so much. She said, women's boxing needed this card. Bad look now. Yeah, it's a shame, dude, because there was momentum going into this, right? Because Taylor and Serrano put on such a good show, and it's a shame that Serrano wanted to go in another direction and we're not getting that immediate rematch. I thought had they done an immediate rematch like this November, December, that would have been really great. But you had this one, and this was, guys, look, if you're not huge into women's boxing, I get it, but you can't deny that this was a pretty good event, better than most men's cards, let's be honest, just in terms of the hardware, because you had an undisputed fight in the main event, and then the co-main, I think it was 3 belts out of the 4. And in the main event, you had a rivalry because Shields and Marshall, they fought in the amateurs 10 years ago. So this is kind of a rivalry 10 years in the making. So, and then the atmosphere over in the UK, I just thought it was going to be a lot of fun, man. And I thought this one did pretty well. BTM, I think you're trolling here. Said NFL did not cancel games after the JFK assassination. I think the NFL would have then. The NFL now, I don't know if the NFL would now. Actually, it would depend on who the president is. I hate to be that way, but it really would depend on who the president is, whether the NFL would cancel the games or not. Shadow Combat says the royal family are vampires. Maybe. We'll see. All right. Hurley says, yeah, the BBBFC made the call. So, okay. So, I think for them, they're troubled anyway. That's a compromised organization. Not that the Nevada State Athletic Commission here in America is any better, but I guess they were just doing that to save face. Then let me ask you guys this: the BBBFC, is it part of the federal government over there? I need some UK guys to chime in because that would make a lot of sense. If it's actually a function like of the government, it's a part of the government, then that would make a lot of sense. Like here, the athletic commissions are part of the state government, right? So when they make decisions like this, you can kind of understand, in this case, if the BBBFC is part of the British government, then it makes sense why they'd make this call. It makes total sense. Lawrence adds, all the Premier League soccer games have been postponed. So there you go. I mean, this is hardly unprecedented, guys. Let's see. Shadow Combat says Canelo versus Golovkin 3 will be a war. I think so, man. These two guys do not like each other. They respect each other. They do. But they are rivals. People talk about rivalries in boxing these days, and 99% of it is absolute bullshit. Most of it is just Twitter beefs between just dudes clout chasing and stuff like that. But there are a few true rivalries. Fury Wilder. Yeah, it got ugly, with some of the stuff there going on, but that's a rivalry between the fan bases, the fighters. That's a rivalry, right? I think Wilder's still making excuses, by the way. I saw some interviews this week. He's still doubling down on the cheating thing. It's amazing. Just insane. But anyway, Canelo and Golovkin is the same way. These fan bases hate each other and everything else. I guess the only difference is Canelo and Golovkin do respect each other. They know the other guy is great. They know that, and you could tell, and they have respect for the sport in a different way than Wilder and Fury do, especially Wilder. So these two guys, as much as they hate each other, they respect each other. But when they get in there, man, they're going to let it rip. They're going to let it rip. Trust me. Yeah, so Lawrence Nye says the BBBFC is scared about the backlash if they went ahead. Yeah, and it makes total sense. It makes total sense. So, again, it sucks. It sucks. But you can understand why they did it, whether you agree or not. Glenn adds, this is pretty simple. The whole nation is in mourning. The right thing to do is postpone sporting events. Plenty of businesses are closed as well. Yeah, and Glenn, that kind of goes back to what I said in the very beginning that, a lot of stuff is just shut down over there. This would be like trying to put on a big fight card during the COVID lockdowns in California or New York. They weren't putting on any shows there. All the shows during that year were brought down to Georgia, to Florida, to Texas, because these states down here were open. Maybe you had to wear a mask or whatever, but at least things were open. If many businesses and things are closed over there and many sporting events are shut down, you kind of got to do this. You kind of got to go forward with this. Ro Knows asks, thoughts on Eddie Hearn saying Bam is fighting the winner of Chocolatito Estrada 3. I actually believe him, because I truly believe Bam Rodriguez is willing to fight anybody. I really think they're going to go forward and do that. I also think it's the right time to. Estrada didn't look great in his last fight. Chocolatito, was on his last leg. Both of those guys are on the way out. This is the time to do it. So, some of you guys getting political in the chat. Hurley says, the whole nation is not mourning, Glenn. We're being forced to mourn. I'm not even touching that. Not even touching it. All right. Let's see. They didn't cancel games. All right. BTM doubling down is saying they did not cancel games after JFK. He says JFK cancellation. All right, dude, you got to be trolling with me, because you're not even calling it assassin. You're calling it the JFK cancellation. Southpaw Red says, congratulations to you and Tiff. Best of luck to you both. Thank you so much. Couster says, are there low blows in women's boxing? Yeah, if there were, maybe the ratings would go up. I don't know. That was a bad joke. Sorry, guys. Nacho says, FYI, Mike, I'm watching the fight next week at a movie theater instead of buying the pay-per-view. You know what, dude? I don't blame you for that. You know what? It's cheaper, and it's probably going to be more fun. I mean, if you do a pay-per-view and you have a fight party and you've got 20 people over, cool. If you go to a theater, man, there might be 100 people in there. You get a beer or two, watch on the big screen. You're going to have a lot of fun, man. I've watched fights in theaters before. It's a lot of fun. I actually went to an event in Dallas when Spence was fighting Brooke. They had a DJ at this movie theater. They did it like a party. It was a lot of fun, man. And some of Spence's family members were there. It's pretty cool. It was really pretty cool. Sam with another super chat. Thank you so much. He says, big difference between tragic and natural death. Yeah, dude. So people are trying to compare like 9/11 to this. Nah, that doesn't work. And maybe you're talking about the Kobe Bryant death versus this with Queen Elizabeth too. Kobe Bryant, that was pretty shocking, man. The way all that went down. And he was beloved in LA, right? I'm not from LA. I lived there for 10 years, but like I never realized until I moved there how huge Kobe was in LA, man. Because I didn't give a shit about Kobe. You know, I wasn't a LA guy. But when I moved there, man, I mean, you see his jersey and stuff everywhere. You see homeless crackheads at Venice Beach rocking Kobe jerseys and stuff. I mean, he's everywhere. That dude was huge. So the whole town really was in mourning when he died. It was like, wow. I mean, just seeing the reaction in town, it was like a famous politician or a leader had died. That's how they really looked at Kobe. Okay. James with it. It's an interesting comment, James. BTM says the AFL canceled games after JFK, the NFL didn't. That's interesting if that's true. Wow, that's crazy, man. Rose says, oh, big as a house. Mike's sleeping in the doghouse if she hears this. Here's the thing, dude. Here's why I say that. Because she's saying it herself. She's so annoyed at her weight right now and that she's big and stuff. And, my wife is 5'3". So there's only so much space she has, right? So she's just expanding outward. Her stomach, it looks like an alien right now. And, I'm telling her, like, baby, you're still beautiful. I still love you. I still want you. You're supposed to be big right now. This is part of the process. It's temporary. So, I'm just trying to be supportive, bro. But she is big as a house right now. Okay. S. Gonzalez is a great question. Says, Mike, what do you think about the supposed Queen Rye versus Stank Davis fight that's apparently close to being done? Look, dude, if you believe people online, Spence Crawford has been close to done about 5,000 times this year. Last year, we were supposed to get Fury Joshua, right? So Pacquiao is coming out of retirement 14 billion times, if you believe everyone on Twitter. Klitschko is coming back and all this stuff. I'll believe it when I see it. I look at those two careers, particularly Tank Davis's career, and the way they've been managed. Why would they jump in right now and fight each other when there's some demand, but it's not like there's huge demand, right? It's not like there's going to be some crossover fight. I just don't see it. I really, really don't. BTM says, Pete Rozelle, who was the commissioner of the NFL at the time, called his decision to have the NFL play after the JFK assassination the worst of his career. Yeah, he was probably right about that. But in the end, I guess it didn't really hurt their brand because the NFL is still king here in the United States. Yeah, Nacho says, I'm not buying that Tank versus Garcia is happening. I'm not either, dude, until I see like an official announcement from the actual fighters. Everyone on social, I know some of you guys hate me talking about social so much, but it's a big part of the media now. But everyone's so desperate to like break news And a big part of boxing news now, unfortunately, is just rumors. Sources say this fight is close to being signed. Tweet, right? And click. And people will click on that, retweet it. And then a bunch of YouTube channels will make videos about that tweet. And they'll source that tweet as their source. So the tweet sources an anonymous, unnamed source, which means it's bullshit. And all the videos and subsequent articles and all the websites cite the tweet as their source. It's all bullshit. It's a way to keep the train rolling. I don't know. It's a way to keep things rolling, dude, because what's different about boxing versus, let's say, the NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, whatever, is that they have a season. They have 100 games, 162 games for baseball. And the NFL used to only be Sunday. Now it's Thursday night, Monday night. They even have shit on Saturday. I think they have a fucking Tuesday game at some point this season, something crazy like that. So, like, there's games all the time. They don't need a rumor mill just to keep, like, their name out there. Boxing does. And I swear a lot of this shit is just by design. Just to keep people talking and to keep traffic going. CJ Duncan in the house with the super chat. Thank you, CJ. Says, be as supportive as you can as they get a bit bigger during the Prego journey. Salute to the MLB chat crew. Yeah, man, I'm trying to. There are a couple times where I will admit I've kind of just laughed because, again, her stomach looks like an alien. Because she's this tiny little person, and then boom, this huge stomach, It's, and my daughter's in there, I don't know. It just kind of looks funny, man. So, but yes, I'm being very supportive, rubbing her back, rubbing her feet, doing all those little things that I can do. All those things I can do. Will with another super chat. Thanks. He says, a translation, they are having trouble making fights. Yeah, there you go. But why, Will? That's the question. Because these dudes want way too much money, and there's always some chump out there willing to pay the money. It's just like, why do so many girls do OnlyFans? Because there are simps out there paying them money. Now, most of the girls on OnlyFans, they're making $20 a week, $100 a week, something like. They're not making that much money, but it's still putting gas in their car. It's still paying for, their party that weekend at the club or whatever, their VIP bottle or whatever. So like, they're still going to keep doing it, right? There's only a handful of them that are really making those big dollars, but there's enough simps out there supporting them. They're going to stay on OnlyFans. It's the same way with this shit. With these fighters, man, most of them are overpaid. There's only a handful of true pay-per-view fighters out there. I could probably count them on one hand, if I'm being honest, right? So all these other guys getting on pay-per-view and stuff, they're overpaid. And to overpay a guy, he can't fight 3, 4, 5 times a year. He can't take tune-up fights. He has to fight quote-unquote names, or they have to find a way to spin it to a casual fan base that he's fighting a name. That's where the WBA Reggie belt comes into play and all this other stuff. So, yeah, man, that's why they're having trouble making these fights. James Burrell says, true story, Mike. I asked the doctor to put a few extra stitches in my wifey after birth. He hooked me up. I have no response to that, James. I'm just going to read your comment and move on. Michael Mendiola says, I think in honor of the Queen passing, the entire WNBA should shut down. Here's the thing, dude. If the WNBA shut down to honor Queen Elizabeth II, nobody would know this. By the way, anybody notice that Brittany Griner story kind of died? No one's talking about it. Remember all those people that they were making it their life cause? Free Britney. I guess they got other shit to talk about right now. That kind of ran its cycle in the news, and they're on to the next thing. Oh, man. Rose says, I agree, Mike. Bam Rodriguez wants them to pass or Eddie wants them to pass the crown to Bam Bam, and he's ready. Yeah, man. I feel you. I think Bam is ready to take over that whole damn division, to be honest with you. Ro also asked for a Ben Eubank prediction. Dude, because of the weight, that's one of those where I got to wait to the weigh-in, right? I just, like, on the surface, Eubank should win this fight. just a good bigger man beats a good smaller man, right? And I don't know how good these two fighters are, but you hear what I'm saying. But if he's drained, absolutely drained, then that doesn't necessarily have to be the case, right? Maybe the smaller man can win. We've seen instances of that in the past. So we must see. Shadow Combat. He just said it perfectly right here. He says, football season is more important than Brittany Griner. There it is. That's absolutely true, dude. That's absolutely true, because as soon as preseason hit, or we got deep into preseason, boom, we stopped hearing about Brittany Griner. It's almost as if it was slow in the news, slow in the sporting news. They needed something to talk about. Now football is back. Brittany will be okay. Well, we'll get back to that later. That's the media. That's how the media works. All right, guys. That's it, man. Yeah. Happy weekend. Have a good weekend. For my friends over in the UK, thoughts are with you. And we'll be back Monday for TNC, and we will do a detailed breakdown of the Canelo Triple G rubber match. And I promise we'll be taking calls. You guys will all get to have your say. All right? In the meantime, have a good weekend. And I'll see you at the fights. Peace.